Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Kate. Today I have a speed paint of Persephone from Lore Olympus, which is this really great webcomic by Rachel Smythe. I'll have a link to her Tumblr and the comic down below. She does describe the comic, if you're curious, as a modern day retelling of the classic Greek myth, The Abduction of Persephone, and it's just fantastic. She's not updating currently because there's this big relaunch coming soon, so definitely something to keep an eye on. I just started reading it probably a couple months ago, and it's one of my favorite webcomics of all time. Her art is so pretty, the characters are awesome. It's just a really fun story. So I also just want to mention that I'm going to be kind of rambling a little bit for the first half of the video or so, but if you're not into that, if you think my voice is weird, because I think it's weird, there's a link to a Spotify playlist in the description as well. You can just put me on mute and watch the speed paint and listen to that. Speaking of which, I do apologize for the weird camera angle. I have this new really cool clippy thing to hold my phone and record for me, and it has all these little lighting things with it, but of course that didn't get delivered until like 8 p.m. yesterday, and I really wanted to work on this like right away, just kind of in the emergency dirt delivery mode. Gotta get it done. So that's what I did. So the angle is not very good, and I will do my very best to improve that in the next video. Another good option to listen for any time, not just when you're trying to avoid my voice on a speed paint video, is the Adventure Zone, which is actually what I listened to for, I think, almost the entire painting, which was several hours, and I cannot tell you how funny it is. If you play Dungeons & Dragons, you probably think it's even funnier than I do, because I've never played before, but the McElroy brothers and father that do this podcast are so funny. Definitely worth taking a look at. I will also include a link to that down below. So, getting into the actual painting, this one was fun and frustrating in equal parts. I really love the character Persephone. I've drawn her at least once before, and I don't know why I really struggle drawing / painting her. She is this really cute, round kind of character. Not like a circle, but like she has a lot of round edges. And I'm not very comfortable with making those kind of shapes. So that was a big challenge, and the pose that I chose for some reason, even though I had myself as a reference, the anatomy was really tricky for some reason for me. So that was good practice. I think I painted the dress and covered it up and went through that cycle like 5 times at least. So that was an interesting use of paint, but that's why I use really cheap paint, just like Liquitex Basic and the Blick Basics, and then like some random other tubes from like my high school painting days that probably are a hazard just being in the same room as me. But using super cheap paints, I don't feel bad about taking as many tries as it takes to get it to come out the way that I want to, so that was really good. Just being able to kind of struggle through that and come up with a solution that I liked. The one thing that I am not super excited about how it turned out is the background. I wish I wouldn't have kept that dark. It's pretty much just black. It's just kind of this weird black with like a little bit of magenta in it, which sounds kind of cool when you say it, but it's really muddy, and Persephone is such a bright, fun character that even though the reason I chose black was because I wanted it to kind of evoke underworld Hades imagery, which makes sense, fine, but it just wasn't really right for a piece where she was the focus, I don't think. But that's fine. It's another learning opportunity there. I think my favorite part about this painting was I have this weird fluorescent red paint that I love it so much. It's just garbage paint. It's really goopy and it separates and it's very, very thin and watery and just awful to work with. But the color is so pretty and I love finding any excuse I can to use it, which when you have a character whose skin is pink and hair is like a dark pink, that's a pretty good excuse to use it, I think. So I used a lot of that. I'll put that in the description just because I don't know how easy it would be to find. You might hear a little bit of snorting. My dog's over here. He's a little French Bulldog Boston Terrier mix, Louis. He's precious, but he is very loud, so sorry if you hear any weird grumbling in the background. Oh, this part of the painting was the funniest for me because I was looking at it and I had, tried to give her like these rounder cheeks and just complete backfired. Did not work the way I wanted it to because her eyes were too close together, too small, and I was looking at it and I was like, wow, this is horrible. I don't even know what to do. But I almost gave up at that point, but I pushed through. It all worked out fine. The eyes really threw me off for a long time. You can see I'm painting over them again. I actually kind of like it best when they're just a dark blob with no eyes, but Persephone has eyes, so I had to throw some eyes back in there. And this is the part of the video where I have to get really close to the painting because I'm just blind and you can't even see most of what I'm painting, so that's really unfortunate. But again, I have a new little clippy thing for my camera and fingers crossed that's going to solve the problem of me covering up everything. Oh, this is another big eye fail. Now they're too squinty, and I also have, which I think most people do, especially in close distances, I can't really see things like straight on, if that makes sense. So even in, I think the very end, the eyes are just slightly crooked, which, she's a goddess. She probably doesn't have crooked eyes. She probably has freaking perfect eyes. But a lot of people, myself included, actually do have slightly crooked eyes. So that's what I keep telling myself. But I'm definitely working on trying to fix that bad habit. One of the things that I've been doing recently that I've seen a couple videos on this suggest is taking the painting or picture or whatever and holding it up to a mirror, because it kind of tricks your brain into seeing it as a new image. So that's kind of helpful. I do kind of, when I get in the zone, have a hard time stepping away for even a couple minutes to correct that, but definitely want to work on that more. And I think that is just about all I have to say on this one. There's still a few minutes left. I'll probably throw in a song or two. Oh, the other thing, this is a little bit early as far as when you're viewing this when I'm talking about this, but the eyes that I end up putting in the background, there's kind of two distinct groups of eyes. And at first I go in and paint a bunch of eyes just kind of all over the place, and that's just kind of weird, so we get rid of that. But on what will be the left side, there's kind of a group of different smaller eyes that are all Hades dogs, which Rachel introduces a couple times in the comic, and they're so freaking cute. I love dogs, I don't know if you could tell. But so that's what all the weird little eyes are. And then the kind of bigger more human-y eyes in the upper right corner are like supposed to be Hades. I don't really know, it's not really clear to me if his eyes are always red or if they're only sometimes red, because she has a really dynamic style, and that includes kind of dynamic character design to some extent. So I just, for aesthetic purposes, like them being red, so they end up being red. And that, I think, is about all I have to say. There's about 1:30 left, so I'll throw in one little jig tune to dance to. But yeah, thanks for watching, and if you want to see more videos in the future with better camera angles, please like and subscribe, and I will see you later. Thank you.